Welcome, my name is Stephen Carter, and you have tuned in to the How to Apply Distant Healing for Physical and Emotional Well-Being. This is a special live cast for the Baltimore and Columbia Energy Healers Meetup. You can check us out at meetup.com/healers. This organization is in the greater Baltimore and Washington, D.C. areas. However, as you can tell, we do webinars, live casts as well, and we will do those periodically, so there's something here, even if you don't live in the greater Baltimore, D.C. area. I want to kick off our conversation tonight, and this will be a conversation. This will be an interactive experience. We are all going to have the opportunity to offer people that we would like to receive distant healing, but there is some things that I want to share ahead of that so that we have a foundation and we're all more or less starting from the same place. Several of the people on the call have been students of mine in quantum touch and emotional freedom techniques and emotrance and some other things. Some of you have experienced or done distant healing probably for years, and others barely know what it means other than the name. So I want to give us a baseline so that everyone begins at least at the starting line and everyone can participate. So I want to start with three stories. And these three stories are clients of mine. I'm not sharing these because I'm claiming that I'm a great healer or that I've got some gift. The reason that I'm sharing these is to show the variety of distant healing work that can be done. And I've got many others as well. So if you have any questions about the extent or the types of distant healing, when we open up the lines for questions, please jot them down now, and I'll be happy to talk with you about that. I'm going to start out with a case that I worked on. Initially, I was contacted by this individual, a gentleman's wife. He was diagnosed with stage 3 or perhaps early stage 4 throat cancer. And he wasn't sure whether he was going to take chemotherapy or not. He was afraid of the side effects. And there were some other things going on. But in counseling and working with both he and his wife, ultimately, it was his choice to go ahead and take chemotherapy. I treated him with quantum touch and with some other things one time in person, and then I did distant healing work for he and his wife from an emotional point of view. This is the communication that I received back from the wife. Steve, I wanted you to know that the name of her husband is doing really well recovering from treatment and managed to get all through treatment basically pain-free. He never even took a Tylenol for the pain. He did have problems eating and drinking and lost significant weight, but the chemo doc said he is in the top 10% of healing. So I guess your intuition, gut images were correct. Thank you so much. And I attribute this pain-free treatment to what you did for him. We don't know the outcome, but he is feeling really good and has about 30% of his taste buds and saliva back at only 1 month out from the treatment. And that was on June 1st. I received July 28th. Hi, Steve. I thought I would let you know how her husband, how his scans turned out. His scans came out clean. No malignancy detected. Your vision was correct. And the vision that she's referring to was something that I asked guidance for and received in terms of the outcome that would result from his treatment and comparing that to no treatment. And he ultimately, not because I'm a doctor or I don't even play one on TV. And by the way, if you are working with clients, I don't need, especially those who have trained with me, you know very well the drill there. You are not a doctor, and you are a facilitator. You're a practitioner. You're helping them heal through God's grace, through their bodies, through the energy systems that they own. That is them. The second case, Steve, I had a pretty rough day after surgery on Wednesday. Yesterday was better. Today I feel much better than I ever expected. So overall, I think I'm doing pretty well. Thanks for asking, because I had inquired as to how she was doing. Whatever you're doing is working. So another case, there is a battered woman shelter, in two of the people who run that shelter came down and participated in a advanced EFT, Master Practitioner Emotional Freedom Techniques class. And as part of that class, we did distant healing. You can do distant healing through just about any energy method at all, and in very much as well in prayer. And we'll talk about that in a minute. So the two ladies said, we have a candidate. This lady has come in. She's been with us a month. She's been absolutely a pain to deal with. She's combative. She's non-compliant. She's nasty to the other residents. We are at our wits' end. We don't know what to do. Can distant healing help her? And I said, don't know, but let's see. So we used one of the individuals as a surrogate, and you'll learn more about that in a minute. And that individual became the client, was the representation of the. So we used a process that's proprietary to the Energy EFT practitioner program. And we tapped through, and they called the next day. They called their home, and they talked briefly to the lady, and they said, so how are you feeling? And she said, well, I'm really feeling pretty good. I'm not sure why, but I just feel lighter. I feel better. I got a call from the director after they completed the training, and they said, Steve, I wanted to just follow up. We didn't believe it at first, but that lady totally turned around. She is compliant, she's kind, she's loving, she interacts with the rest of the residents in the home. She's a delight to have in our halfway house. Now, the reason, again, that I share these is to illustrate the variety of situations that you can connect and apply distant healing for. And please keep that in mind as we roll along. So what exactly is distant healing? I'll turn to the Institute of Noetic Sciences. Researchers have observed that the capacity most commonly held among distant healing practitioners is an ability to hold a compassionate intention for another at a distance. From this perspective, distant healing can be understood as an integral practice that brings together a healer's capacities for holding intention, attention, and compassion in ways that may enhance healing effects. And that's from the Institute of Noetic Sciences. Thoughts clearly have effects. Sometimes they're observable, sometimes not, but I would point us to the work of Massaro Emoto. The thoughts, the words, the sounds, they have energy and they can influence physical matter. Consciousness and intent, for those of you familiar with his work, he would take vials of water and he labeled the vials with different words. He would label the vials with words like love, compassion, beauty. And when he checked under the microscope, when they crystallized the water, the crystals were in perfect symmetry. They were beautiful. For those vials that had words like hate, bigotry, anger, those crystals were misshapen, misformed. And this was also the same outcome when they played classical music to the water and then did the crystallizations. The crystals were perfect, symmetric, beautiful. And when they played heavy metal, those crystals were ugly, misshapen, and just not very attractive at all. So his work is really an amazing example of the effects of energetic thought, of music, of how we affect things beyond what we even realize. Our energy systems. You know, if someone is kind and loving and they walk in the room, you know that, you feel it. If someone is angry, is hateful, is bigoted, there's an energy around that individual. You simply know it. You know it subconsciously, but you also get a sense of it consciously as well, a signal to keep your distance. So practices around the world for distant healing, the most obvious is prayer. Prayer is a long history in Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Hindu. All of the major religions have ways to engage prayer for healing. Indigenous peoples, shamanism is a very common distance healing or in present or in-person healing as well. Soul retrieval work is common to many indigenous peoples. They are very much connected spiritually to the land, to one another in ways that most of us from Eastern European roots simply aren't. In Asia, specifically China, distant healing is done with Qigong. There are other methods as well. In Japan, there are methods there. Dowsing, ancient images and references in Egypt, modern day Iran, and China. Dowsing goes back centuries. We know for sure that it was condemned by Martin Luther in 1500 and something as occultism. Project Stargate. The CIA did remote viewing work from 1975 through 1995. And one of the architects of that work was Russell Targ. And in a book, Miracles of Mind, Exploring Non-Local Consciousness and Spiritual Healing, this Project Stargate researcher, Targ, and the energy healer, co-author of that book, Jane Katra, PhD, chronicled their joint work in healing TARG of metastatic cancer through mind-body based methods. And a quote from the book, Incorporating Eastern Philosophy and Modern Sciences, or Modern Science, Targ and Katra explain how popular methods for alternative healing, from therapeutic touch to Qigong, make use of non-local mind. If you look at virtually all of the energy healing systems, quantum touch, Reiki, reconnective healing, matrix energetics, and multiple others, all of them have a component as part of their processes for non-local or distant healing. What I would like to do is offer a system, a method, for those of you who are not familiar with other methods of distant healing. So if you have absolutely zero experience of distant healing, this is a method you can apply and work on loved ones, on pets, on circumstances, on countries, on disasters, just an array. There's really no limitation to the application of distant healing, because what is it truly? It's love. It's connecting to the situation or the person or the animal, connecting energetically, and that can be through prayer, it can be through energy systems, and sending healing energy, love, for the highest good of the individual or for healing specific conditions. It's up to the receiver to decide energetically whether they will accept your gift. So the first thing that I suggest that you do is, before conducting a distant healing session, to say these simple words: I release all emotional attachment to the outcome of this session. And when you say that, you will feel a physical release, a change in your body. We are not the healers. The term healer is used, and indeed the definition used, healer, but the healer is the person who is sick and gets better. We are simply facilitators. We are offering a concentration of focus to the client or to the situation, the person. We're offering them the gift of energy, of healing, of intention. And in doing that, that person has energetically, subconsciously, at a quantum level, whatever you like, that person has the option of accepting it or not. It is not about us, it is about them. So hopefully you all have available a surrogate. Now, what is a surrogate? It's a substitute. So I'm going to introduce you to my substitute for our session here. Hello. Pink Panther. Yep. Wave to everybody. Yep. Okay. You don't need a Pink Panther. You don't need a teddy bear. If you have one, great. if you have a focus object can even be a bottle of water. Now, do you absolutely need a focus object? No. So let's begin, first of all, by connecting our awareness to the physical sensation of energy from our hands. So rub your hands together. And now bring the hand, take the left hand and in the receiving position and the right hand above it. And then slowly, just slowly bring it down. And if you've ever taken Qigong or Tai Chi, this will be familiar with you or to you. And just roll or move the palm of the right hand very, very slowly in a circle. And notice, right, move it up to the fingertips, back down. Many of you will feel a magnetic push or a magnetic attraction, a felt sense between the palms. You may also experience pins and needles or just a sense of presence. And as you get closer, you can stretch that energy and then roll the ball at a higher level, and you will still feel that connection. Take the left hand, turn it over, and now take the palm of the right hand and just very, very slowly and gently move it across the back of the left hand. And now the fingertips, take the fingertips and move the fingertips slowly on the back of the hand and turn the hand back over. Move the fingertips in the palm of the left hand with the right hand. And you may feel nothing, and that's fine. One of the best practitioners, quantum touch practitioners that I ever worked with, a guy named Mike Love in Charlotte, North Carolina, couldn't feel and do this exercise for months, and he got amazing results with clients. And ultimately, of course, he did feel it and sense it, and is still doing great work there many years after he learned this method. So that we're going to transfer that energy to the surrogate. But first, we have to connect energetically with the person that we are planning to work on or work with. Personal preparation. We ground ourselves, both feet on the floor, feel the connection to Mother Earth, even if you're 3 stories up. Feel that penetration, energetic penetration through your feet into the earth. And begin breathing. Begin a breath process of 4, the count of 4 in. Hold very briefly and 4 out. 4 in. 4 out. And as you ramp that breath up, you will increase your energy intake as if you're breathing up from Mother Earth, breathing in, up through the legs, into the chest, into the heart, up to the crown, and then out, down through the heart, through the palms, ultimately to the surrogate, or if you're working with a live person, into the body of the live person. energy felt sense and the actual sense of the physical energy will increase as you're ramping up your breath. For this process, rather than focus on that, what we want to do is focus on a sense of love, that we're connecting energetically to that person with our sense of love. So pick someone who you would like to help, who you would like to offer distance healing to. And it doesn't matter what their condition is. We're going to actually do some work as a group in a few minutes. But pick someone that you would just love to help. Close your eyes, get an image of that person. If you have a photograph, even better. Get that person as sharp as you can. If you feel, well, I don't see things, I don't visualize, great, just get a feeling. And then bring that feeling or that vision of that image down to your heart, into the heart center. Surround that image with a golden light or the light of your choice. Could be white. Whatever it is, your subconscious will guide you to the colored light that's most appropriate. And now, literally, send your heart energy out through space into the heart of the person or the animal, the pet that you're choosing to offer distance healing to. So you bring that in, you connect in your heart, and then send that connection out, connecting to the heart area of the person or the situation, if it's not a person, but for our work here, it's going to be a person, connecting to that person's heart. And now take that energy and again, drop it down through your palms, into your surrogate. So you're connecting three ways. You're connecting from your heart to your surrogate, and the surrogate connects to the heart of the person that you're choosing to help. And there's this continuing energetic circle, your heart, the surrogate, the client, and back. Now, depending on the needs of the client, you're going to work on the teddy bear, in my case, Mr. Panther, or a bottle of water, looks very much like a human body. Pick the area that that person needs help with. And that's where you run the energy. And if you're not sure, you just run it into the torso for the person's highest good. If there's an emotional or a mental issue that you're working on, then run the energy into the brain of the surrogate. And then about a minute and a half or two, we're going to limit our work here to 2 minutes, but you are not limited when you're choosing to do this yourself. I've gone as long as an hour, sometimes longer. Typically, the sessions I do are about 15 minutes. You can then finish up if it's an issue with brain or emotions. And let's say it is 15 minutes, run about 10 minutes into the head, about 5 minutes into the heart. And then overall, just bathe the client through the surrogate with your love, the light of healing. And when you're finished, then you put the surrogate back, you cut the connection, Send with intent of love. Your intent is to send loving energy to the person that you're working on. You cut that energetic connection, and then you go about your business. That is one way of many different ways to do distant healing, and we're calling this heart-centered distant healing. Now, can we apply this to ourselves? Yes, we can. Very often, we may not be able to get to the physical connection of our own issue, especially if it's mental or if it's in the middle of our back. We can't necessarily place our hands for hands-on healing, but what we can do, again, is connect in our heart. We're bringing our own image into the heart, connecting to our totality, to our energetic completeness, and then we send that in to the surrogate. That surrogate becomes me, and I'm able to work on whatever the issue is, if it's knees or feet, wrist, shoulder. And the idea, if at all possible, is to take one hand over the heart, for example, or if it's on the shoulder, I want to sandwich the shoulder on with a hand on each side, and I want to send the light of loving energy into that shoulder, and breathe, sweep and breathe, bring the energy up and out through the palms, smile, love, and just literally send love to that body part. And you will be, in many cases, you will be amazed at the results of self-healing and of healing for others as well. So before we actually get underway and work as a team, I'm going to open up our call and see if anyone has any questions or observations. So let me unmute everyone. So is there anyone who would like to share or have a question about what we've talked about so far? Yes.
Steve,
Sure.
could
Yes.
you repeat the circle of the breathing from yourself to the surrogate? The start and the beginning and the end. Like, what is that circle again?
So you are connected first to your heart.
Mm-hmm.
You send your heart energy, you literally as a laser beam, to the person you're choosing to help.
Or the surrogate?
Well, you're
To the person first.
the person first,
Okay.
and then you bring that energy flow into the surrogate, and then you have a circle of flow. Now, if you want to go here, heart, surrogate, client, that'll work too. And then back to you. The idea, with whatever way that you do that, you want to have this connection. That surrogate is the person you're working on. And you're connected heart energy to that person, and that person literally occupies the surrogate for purposes of the distant healing. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions from anyone? Go ahead.
Yeah, this is just wonderful. I mean, it really enhanced what I've been doing. And the one thing, though, is that I've never really been aware much about how to end. And I've always kind of thought that it was just kind of a hanging cliff at the end. Yeah, but I'm asking you, can you give us some more information on how you end?
What I would suggest is when you're done,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll get a sensation, a felt sense of when I'm done, that
Mm-hmm. Right.
the client is simply not going to take any more energy, that we're done. At that point, since you've made an energetic connection, what I would suggest is literally you take your hand and break that connection as a sword. So you go whoosh.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if it's someone, a child, someone special you want to stay connected to, that's fine. That's your choice. But if you're working on a client or someone that you don't know, for example, when I was working with a gentleman with cancer, I had no need or interest to stay energetically connected with him beyond the work that I was doing at his request and the request of his wife. So when I'm done, I go, finished. If you're familiar with dowsing, you can also do this work using a pendulum or using a dowsing rod. That's more advanced, and we just don't have the time to do it here on this call. But I use dowsing for distant healing all the time, and it has the benefit of providing the energy that the client needs, but it also gives me feedback as to specifically what kind of energy that the client is open to receive. And am I getting through? It will tell me that as well. But again, that's kind of a, a 200 or 300 level class. So this will work fine. And I would encourage you to play with this. Let's move along here. I'd like to have us do a joint 2-minute experience, and this is an actual case. He's 40 years old and has 2 small boys. Thank you and blessings to everyone joining me on this healing journey. We don't have a picture, but we have the option of energetically creating one in our head. So what I would like for each of us to do is close our eyes, bring into awareness through your subconscious, ask the subconscious to create a symbol that represents, and once you have that, bring that symbol down into the heart. I'm hopeful that you read the instructions and you have a surrogate. If you don't, simply place the image in between the palms of your hand or hands, and then literally send the love and the energy to that image, to that energetic felt sense between the palms. If you have a surrogate, go ahead, use your surrogate. In this case, we don't know exactly what the injuries are. Chances are there's head injuries, chest, and so forth. What I would suggest is sending about 30 or 40 seconds to the brain, and then the upper chest, the heart, the pelvis, and then go back to finish off the last few minutes or last 20 seconds or so into the torso. And again, let's all repeat, I release all emotional attachment to the outcome of this session. We have no idea, and doesn't matter, because what we're doing is joining together to send energy to this young man in a loving, compassionate, caring way. Okay? So let's go ahead. I will time this beginning now, and we'll go 2.5 minutes for this exercise. Okay, another 15 seconds, and we'll wrap up. Okay, you may choose to give thanks to your source. Break the connection. Take a breath, stretch. Now, I would be curious, how was that experience? And let me just, I'll start down quickly down the list. If you'd like to share, great. If not, fine. Margie Ann, what did you notice when you were doing this work?
Okay. Well, there was a great heaviness between my hands when I was working the energy and sending it out, which did not totally dissipate, but it felt like it eased some.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a great heaviness, like, oh, you know, like when everything in your body hurts, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
that's what I was looking at.
Did you get a sense of connection to?
Yes, I didn't even have to think about it. I just saw the name and it was there.
Okay.
That's always been easy for me, though.
Yes. Yes. All right. Thank you. Carol, what did you notice?
Well, I'm just kind of overwhelmed with the whole thing, to tell you the truth. I've been doing this for a long time, but with the prep that you taught us, it was so much more powerful again than I've experienced for a while. And there was a very clear vision of who he was and stuff, very, very clear. There was a huge connection to him. That did not surprise me as much as the fact that I know when I have work done on myself, I know that I can feel the energy releases. And with this, I could feel the energy being released from him.
Okay, good. All right.
And I was directed a little bit different than what you had said. The protocol might be, and it said, you know, open it up to whatever we felt. And the sense that I had that there was trauma to the neck and the throat. So I did some concentrated work there, and it just a tremendous sense that that was where I needed to be.
All right, very good. Thank you. Betty? Okay, unmute. Okay.
Am I unmuted?
Yes, you are. Go ahead. What did you notice, Betty?
Well, I noticed my breathing deepened, and I went to a place of deep peace, feeling that that's what was needed to pass on through the healing. And I had a question for you from earlier. Can I do that now?
Sure, absolutely.
You mentioned earlier about connecting with a color, and I'd like to know more about that.
If healing light comes in all sorts of colors, and there's a whole body of work around color therapies and so forth. And if you think of chakra work, each chakra has its own corresponding color.
Right.
And so when you're doing work charging your chakras, one of the methods you can use is to send red, for example, into the base chakra. And as far as white is the amalgamation of all light. So many people, when they're doing distant healing, will just choose to share white light. The white light of God, of love, of source, whatever you like. Golden light can also be a very healing light. And what I would suggest is that you invite your subconscious, your inner knowing, to offer up the colored light or the color of light that is most appropriate for that particular situation. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. I was just curious because the first exercise, when I was sending it to this person, pink came up, and pink isn't a color that I would have thought. It didn't come from my thinking. It just kind of came up, and was curious why pink came up.
Pink is an alternative color to the heart chakra too. So that it may have something to do with his heart. Yeah, we don't know. And the thing is, we'll never know. So part of the art is to let go and let God. Whatever is there, it's there. We allow it, we welcome it, and we use it.
Right. Thank
Okay.
you.
Cherie?
Hi. I felt a lot of energy, like heat, when I was in the mid the torso of the body,
Mm-hmm.
and just noticed because I was at the head, I didn't feel too much of anything, but definitely felt heat at the torso. And here's my surrogate.
Okay.
So, you know, I don't know if it was the throat, the chest, or whatever, but I didn't focus on that anyway. But then as I went down, thinking that I had already done what I needed to do, that's what I thought cognitively, like, oh, okay, that's probably what was needed because it heated so much at the torso. But it was interesting, as I went to the legs, my hands felt very heavy. And and I thought I wanted to take them away because my hands were actually just getting a little tired from being held that way. It felt like I was being drawn to keep my hands right there for as long as it was. And yeah, so I just felt a lot of that right at the legs. So.
Okay. All right. Let me. Okay. I'm muting you again. Okay, my muting technology here is challenged, so please bear with me. Norma?
Yes. Hi, Steve. Hi, everybody. That was a really interesting experience. I also was I was working full body. I was using a green and gold light as I worked, and felt that it was important to. I started with his head, but then I also worked with his extremities and his torso. And like Carol, when I was going back over his body, I was drawn to his neck and his throat. And I worked there also, sending the love, sending the healing. And when it was, and then I kind of take a breath whenever I'm doing something and it's over. It's like I go, ah, like that. And I realized as you called the time, I was freezing. I was really cold when I came out of it. So, and now that has kind of passed too. But it was a lovely experience to do with the group. Thank you, Steve.
Okay. And Judy, what did you notice?
Well, initially I felt the flow of energy with a lot of heat up near the head and the upper torso. And I felt and saw the golden light. When I was down near the legs and the lower torso, it was cold. So I don't know if it's that feeling of heaviness, but it was like cold. So I moved back up to the head and it was like on fire. But I had the sense that I needed to stay there near the head and the upper torso. And even when you called time, it was, no, I'm not ready to stop yet. So I felt like I needed to do more. So I probably will later on.
Mm-hmm.
It was an interesting experience because usually when I see something like that there's a need for prayer and that I will send prayers and blessings. And I think a moment of awareness for me is that I need to just stop and take time to really get into the energy and the flow of energy and send that healing energy to people that need it. So it was like a little wake-up call for me because I get caught up in time passing so fast, and
Right.
I need to spend more time with this type of thing. So thank you.
Good. All right. Go from Vicky. I can't unmute you for some reason. So if my apologies. Silverwood, what did you notice?
Relationship with the person during the healing. I always feel warmth. I think it was Judy that said she felt really, really cold. I have to be careful when doing healing because I, like Cherie, get very, very hot. And so I have to make sure that I'm dressed properly for a healing, so that I'll be comfortable in the room. This situation actively demonstrates us not having a connection with the individual.
Mm-hmm.
We know a name, we know a few circumstances of it, but there's truly no knowledge relationship, physical relationship with this individual, and whether we'll know anything of his outcome ever. So it forces the have to give the result over.
Mm-hmm.
We won't see a part of it. We won't know the end result. We won't most likely ever know anything of this.
If I do get feedback, and I will certainly share it with the folks
Oh,
in here.
well, I think that speaks to the releasing. I mean, that's why I was sharing that. It's releasing. I release my need to know the end result. It's my result.
Mm-hmm.
I give it over to the universe. And
Okay.
I break the connection.
Right. Okay, thank you. Betty, did I speak with you yet?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We have quite a number of folks on the call. And these names keep moving in my list, which is a bit of a challenge. So if I have missed anyone who would like to share, please unmute yourself and then go ahead and share your observations. Going once, twice. Okay. We are a couple of minutes past 8. So what I would offer is we can do healing for more than one person at a time, literally put them in a healing circle. So I'm going to go down very, very quickly. If there's someone you would like for this group to work on, please give us, and that can be yourself, please give us the name and the location, and briefly what the issue is, in just a few words, okay? All right. So I think that's everyone. I hope so. So what we're going to do is, it is 8:15, and I'm sorry we're going over, but there's just amazing work to be done here. So what I'm going to offer is we'll go 10 minutes. If you need to ring off, go ahead. Excuse me, but let's go 10 minutes. And each of you has heard the other team members or the other people on the call. Allow and your subconscious is remembering every person and every issue that was offered for healing. Allow the subconscious to bring all of that information together into a symbol. Don't try to guess what it might be. Allow the subconscious to bring that into your awareness. This will be the totality of all of the concerns, requests for healing that have been shared, and we will be healing that symbol that you are choosing. And we will go 10 minutes beginning right now. Okay, go ahead and wind up. Take a final breath, 2 or 3 breaths if needed. You may choose to give thanks to your source for assisting you and for assisting all of the people who requested distant healing. Smile and break your connection energetically and prepare yourself to go about the rest of your evening in peace and love. So I will just ask, rather than go down the list, if you have anything that you would like to share, please unmute yourself and share that. And let's begin with folks who are on video.
I'd just say one thing, Steve. I just think it's very lovely that how powerful any intervention or healing I ever do when I'm with a group of people with the same intention.
Mm-hmm.
And I thank you for bringing us together to have this moment, because it was just as giving as it was receiving.
Just, would this be something people would be interested in doing maybe once a quarter, every few months?
Yeah.
Jim, this is Norma. I completely echo Sherry. I was thinking the same thing. I wish that we could do this on a regular basis. Thank you very much.
Well, you're welcome. There's no reason we can't.
This is Sharon,
Uh-huh.
and I agree. Actually, once a month would work for me, but maybe not everyone has that time. It was great.
Well, thank you. And I will certainly take that under advisement. I'm thinking probably well, let me think about that. I think we're definitely worth doing. And if we have a group who shows up regularly, which can be a challenge for these events, live or in person, as well as video events or call-in events. So thank you. It's been a very powerful experience for me, and thank you all for participating. Anyone else? And since there's a few on the phone, I will unmute that. Margie Ann, anything you'd like to share?
Yes, a big resounding yes.
Okay. Okay. Was
Awesome.
that was Margie Ann, correct?
Yes, this is awesome as everything usually is around you, Steve. It was extremely awesome. I could feel everybody's energy, and my whole living room feels like it's radiating energy right now.
Good.
So,
excellent. All right. Thank you. Carol, anything you'd like to share?
oh my God, yes, I ditto what everybody else said. This has been as powerful or more powerful than anything we've had at your place with when we're in person, and those were all outstandingly, deliciously wonderful. And I don't even know how else to describe the rest of it. But I'm with the rest of them. If you can, whatever fits your schedule for quarterly, monthly, whatever, I think it's a phenomenal opportunity. And I'm really grateful too, because so much has been going on in my life this week, and I was totally exhausted when I got on this call, and I feel like I've been rejuvenated, and I didn't even ask for the prayer, Right. But I just, let's go for it.
All right, this is what we call in EFT work borrowed benefits. So that's you get as much as you give, and indeed very often we get more. Thank you, Carol. Okay, I think that's everybody on the phone. If there's any other final comments, please unmute yourself. Otherwise, I will say thank you to each of you from my heart for participating. A wonderful, beautiful, energetic group of people, amazing, and thank you so much. So with that, we will end our meeting. Cherie, just waving by, right? Okay. All right. Blessings to all. Love, and I'll be back in touch. Bye-bye.